Hey guys, welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is another edition of the Bitcoin Crypto Weekly Close. We're doing this on Monday instead of Sunday. For everyone who's currently here, I'd appreciate, just because my setup is a little different, I'd appreciate if someone could drop me a comment and let me know if the audio is okay, because I just heard it on my phone. And again, I don't have access to two monitors, so it's a little tricky. I'm not a fan of this setup, and it is something that's temporary, but it's manageable. So hey, I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in. What I wanted to do, and what we typically do on this live stream, is we're going to take a look at a few key charts. I'm going to point out some observations that I have on the charts. I'm going to make sure to do another live stream. We're going to cover the monthly close. We're going to have the happy hour this week as well. And I'm also going to get one or two published TA videos out there for everybody for some additional insights and go a little bit more in depth on some key charts that I feel are important to further investigate. So if you appreciate the content, make sure to give a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon and drop me a comment. Let me know what's going on, and we'll definitely. I'll kind of go through the main charts that I want to cover here. And then what I'm going to do, which I always do, is I open it up to any questions that anybody has here for a live TA Q&A. So I see a few people who are regulars here. Hey, glad to see you, Brian. What's up, Bankrun? Glad to see that you're back, my brother. I see Brian Bankrun, Neffy. Glad to hear that you're on. Thank you for confirming the sound. Brian, the sound isn't great, but it's not bad either. Yeah, it's not the best, right? I can't wait to get back to my Hyper X microphones. What's up, Crypto Ryan? Glad to see you in here. By the way, Crypto Ryan has a channel. He has a really nice channel. Make sure to check out his content. I'm subscribed to his channel. I think he does an awesome job evaluating Elliott wave analysis in particular. And I think he breaks down the charts very simplistically and provides value-added TA. So make sure to check out his channel. So with that being said, let's get into a few charts here. Excedre, what's up, brother? Glad to see you. Let's get into a few charts here, and let's keep things honest like I always do here, and I'll give you my honest assessment in terms of how the week closed out, how the picture might be changing or not changing. So with that being said, let's get into it here. So this is the Bitcoin weekly chart. Okay, now the pink line is the 200 simple moving average. The purple is the 50 simple moving average. Now, one thing that's rather obvious to point out here is the more the price consolidates down below the 200 simple moving average, it's not favorable to see this 50 potentially crossing below the 200. That has never historically happened. But again, there's not a lot of price data on Bitcoin, right? It's not like we have 50 years of price data to go back to. So we don't have a lot of price data to formulate a conclusion on how it's never good to see a lower moving average like that cross below a higher moving average. Okay, you never want to see the 50 cross below the 200. So that wouldn't be good. And we would want to try to avoid that by getting price to push up here. But keep in mind, guys, all we're doing at the moment is we are validate these lower lows and take out this target right here around 25,000. Okay. Now, also keep in mind that once price action, this is a basic premise in charting that I've hit on quite a bit. Once price action moves below a moving average, okay, it does not act as support because we're below it. It actually acts as resistance, right? So price, once price comes up towards this 200 simple moving average at around 24,000, we should get some initial resistance. A really good sign to get you guys beginning to feel, there's a lot of signs you can look for. One of them is on the weekly, okay? One of the signs you can look for to begin to reinstill some confidence that we could truly be seeing an upswing in the market. Candle body closes above the 200 simple moving average on the weekly, okay? That's what you would want to look for. This view here, this is really interesting. This is something that I've shared and a lot of people have shared on Twitter. Pretty obvious bullish divergence here building on the weekly, right? So all I'm very simplistically laying out to you guys, and you can see this pretty easily, we have the RSI increasing in value as the price is declining in value. Now, there's no reason that the bullish divergence in the RSI has to play out. but it is I would look at it as a leading indicator that we could potentially see a pop to the upside at some point in the shorter to midterm, right? Now that could be a dead cat bounce, okay, and we could roll over, or that could be the start of something greater. But it is encouraging at least to see that although price is moving down, seller exhaustion is formulating within this chart via the bullish divergence on the relative strength index. Okay, there's not as much strength behind the downward movement in the price. You can actually see this on the 3-day here. Okay, these are Heikin Ashi candles. I've spoken to this chart a lot on a 3-day and weekly, but you can see here as price has continued to decline with the red arrow, the RSI is increasing. Again, all formulating that there is a potential to see a pop up in price. Now, keep in mind another something else that I indicated to you on an earlier chart on the weekly. Once we move below a moving average, it acts as resistance, right? Check this out on the 3-day, okay? Once we moved below the moving average here, the 50, resistance, 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 right? So we're having a hell of a time on the 3-day chart getting above the 50 simple moving average. Another thing you can look for to begin to get some level of confidence that things may be turning, look at the 3-day chart, okay? And if you start to see candle body closes, I'm not talking about wicks, I'm not talking about volatility, okay? We've seen that plenty of times with these circles here. If we start to get candle body closes above the 50 simple moving average, that should instill a level of confidence that we could start to see a trend reversal in price. This chart here, this is something that we're going to hit on later in the week. And as bullish as I am, okay, now I want to be very clear about something. Nothing about the price action. Let me say that. Let me be very clear about this and let me know in the comments if I am not making sense. Good to see you, Ugos. By the way, I see you're here, brother. And Brendan, my friend, I see you're joining. Glad to see you as well. So I want to be very clear about this. As much as it was not bullish or good to see price drop the way it did on this weekly candle, when we dropped and lost the floor at around 18,000, we dropped all the way to 15.6, we'll call it, 15.5, okay? Nothing has invalidated this, okay? Nothing has invalidated this Elliott wave structure that I have spoken endlessly to. Okay? Nothing about it. The expanding flat correction is still valid. The fifth wave topping in 2023, as hard as that is to see right now, is still a very valid thesis. Based on education, not my desire, okay? Not my desire to make millions of dollars and go live in a penthouse somewhere, okay? This hypothesis and this view that I've shared with you guys, this is based on education, and there's nothing in the chart that has invalidated that. So as bearish as things have been in the short term, I want to reiterate to you, I still view this as the most likely scenario. Let me be very clear about this. This is still my main hypothesis. Until proven otherwise, until this structure breaks down and invalidates, this is still what I'm viewing. Okay, I still see Bitcoin breaking $100,000 next year. As hard as that feels emotionally, nothing within the chart has been invalidated. Okay, so I want to make that crystal clear. However, keeping things very real with you guys, and make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you appreciate the content and appreciate the fact that I'm always going to keep it honest with you guys. This monthly chart is not encouraging to me, and this is not what I wanted to see. And I've really emphasized to you guys, which, by the way, I wanted to say real quick, it feels really good to be back. I haven't done a video in a week, okay? So I pretty much took the week off last week with the holidays traveling, and it feels really good to be back. So thank you for everyone joining, by the way. And I will get to the comments and any questions I see coming in. I'll take a little break here in a moment. But I've hit home on this quite a bit. Okay, now I drew a level here around 19,000. What was it, 300 or 400? Was it 19,400? Yeah, 19,400, okay? You might go to another channel or someone else on Twitter, and they might draw the line at 19.5 or 19.6. Okay, we're squabbling over $100. The point is, right around 19,400, I did not want to see the monthly close below here. What did I tell you guys? It doesn't jeopardize my thesis for next year, okay? It doesn't jeopardize that. What it does is two things, okay? First off, it increases the likelihood. It increases, again, nothing is certain, but it certainly increases the likelihood that we could come down to 13,800, 10,800, 10,000. You see these key pivotal monthly areas of support. Do I still think that that's going to happen? No, I do not think it's going to happen. But it makes me more nervous. It does make me a little nervous, being honest, that I could be wrong because I recognize that the probability has now increased. We've gotten a monthly close below here. We're not going to close above it this month. Okay, it's not happening. We're not getting a close at 19,400. So, number one, it has increased the probability that we could enter this territory. Again, I don't see it happening, but the probabilities have increased. The other thing that has increased, okay, and I want to make this very, very, let me know if this point doesn't make sense because this is very important. What has also happened now, once this monthly candle closes below 19,400, again, as we hit an area of support and we break it and fall below it and get a candle body close below an area of support, what happens? It acts as a ceiling, okay? And every time we come up to the ceiling, it acts as resistance. Now, multiple hits on that ceiling, it'll weaken and eventually we'll break through. But now that we've broken below this temporary area of support, it's going to act as resistance. So the odds for the bulls are not in our favor that next month we're just going to burst through 19,400 and be at 30,000 by December or January. Okay, the odds are not in our favor. What is more likely, is we could chop around here for 3 to 4 months, okay, hitting the 19th. Maybe we wick above it. Maybe go up all the way up to 21 or 22,000, but close below it, okay? But again, there are two things now that have an increased likelihood. One, we could go lower than I suspect we will to 13,800 or all the way down to near 10,000. Okay, and two, there's an increased probability that we will actually kind of just do this chippy choppy bullshit for 3 to 4 months. Alts, you can see some alts pop off. Okay, I still suspect that Bitcoin dominance will stay very low. You will have alts still maintaining in general their market share, okay, at around 60%. So you could see some nice pops in alts. You could see some low caps, double, triple, kind of what we've seen with things like BAM Protocol or Mask Network. You could see those things. But it really, what it does is it sort of pushes things out such that as long as the Elliott wave structure does not become invalidated, okay, if we consolidate under here for 3 to 4 months, once we actually start to get bullish momentum and Bitcoin really does, which I still believe, it'll go over 100,000 next year and create new all-time highs and have that fifth wave blow off top, that could be well into late 2023. So we'll just have to, again, remain patient. But the last thing I would hit on with this monthly chart is, what I'm not saying is that even though we've closed below here in the month of December, I'm not saying that we can't get a bullish engulfing candle, get a real thick a real thick green reversal candle, close above 19,400, encapsulate this whole red body here, and close all the way up above 20,000 like 600. I'm not saying that isn't possible. That's certainly possible. But it's not as probable, okay? We have to be realistic. It's not as probable that now that we know we're going to close below 19,400, that we're going to consolidate under here for a few months, okay? So we have to be realistic. Again, doesn't jeopardize the big picture of what I see unfolding next year. It just, it lengthens it and drags things out, okay? So that's the way I would look at it. If we look at Ethereum, and I'll touch on a few more charts and then I'll take some questions here, and then I had a few more other charts I wanted to cover. Ethereum weekly, pretty simple here, okay? We're below the 200 simple moving average. The 200 simple moving average, which is at around 13,000, we wish. 1,340. Wow, 13,400, 200 SMA on Ethereum. Someday. Is at around 1340. That's going to act as resistance, okay? We can see the lower highs coming in, right? We can see the lower highs coming in. We need to negate those lower highs. We need to break that. We need to break above this this red line of resistance at around 1,200. And then we need to break our all-time high region at around 13 to 1,400 up here. Okay, so we have quite a ways to get up here. We got to break 1,200. We got to break this moving average. This moving average is right in line with our prior all-time high at around 13, 1,400. Okay, so we got to get up there and break those areas of resistance and break the descending area of highs here, the descending lower highs here. Okay, on Ethereum. So nothing new there. Nothing on the price indicators. By the way, guys, if I'm not hitting it on anything in the price indicators, it's because week over week I don't see anything materially that has changed. So I I don't want to eat up time just to eat up time. I want to cover the things that are most critical. Now, let's get into something that adds credence, further credence to the notion that things may not be as they feel. Okay, if we're basing our view on emotions and we're fed up with the consolidation, and we've gone from a fleet of Lambos to a fleet of Geo Metros, and we're allowing that emotion, and portfolio-wise, and we're allowing our emotion to skew our intellect, allow me to add more credence to the notion that we may not be in the cycle, the part of the cycle that most people think that we are in, okay? This is the Ethereum BTC relativity chart, and I've hit on this constantly, okay? This is actually a monthly view, but again, you don't see a major breakdown in dominance, okay, for Ethereum. And what this tells me is because Ethereum's been consolidating up here in dominance, typically when you have strong price action in these altcoins, and this is the king altcoin, such as Ethereum here, what that's telling you is that we're not at the part of the cycle that's super suppressed and depressed where we're going to be in a massive bear market for, you know, the next year to come, right? What we would have seen is a trickle down here into this area, and we haven't seen that, okay? We've seen strength. Maybe we'll dip into this region in here, but ultimately, it looks very likely we're going to break this descending resistance and start hitting up against our prior all-time highs and quite possibly create new all-time highs in Ethereum dominance. And again, let's take that view and let's supplement that view with Bitcoin dominance. Guys, if you've been here, okay, you know about the bear flag, okay? You know about the descending triangle where this was a fake out, but this is a valid descending triangle. We've hit this floor 5 times now, 5 distinct points in time. And if you follow one of the key premises on this channel that I hit on fundamentally from a technical perspective, I have constantly indicated to you guys, okay, remove your emotion and just look at this as a chart. Anytime we constantly hit support, what happens? It doesn't express strength. Quite the opposite. It's a floor. You have a jackhammer and you're hitting the floor, right? And all of a sudden the floor breaks and you discover there's many stories below you that you're going to fall. The floor weakens. Okay, the floor weakens. So I am suspecting that this is going to break. I've painted this out. Nothing, I've talked endlessly about this. Nothing has changed. The dollar's doing, let's go to the DXY. The dollar is doing exactly what I said it would do. This weekly candle, mind you, is only 1 day old, okay? What happened? We broke below the 108 floor. We came up, okay? Very common, guys, very common. We break prior support, and what happens? We back test it and confirm that it's resistance. That's what this price wick here represents. We couldn't get above it, okay? The dollar is exhausted. The DXY, no matter what fundamental news channel that you may watch that has 500,000 subscribers or 600,000 subscribers may tell you, the DXY chart is just like any other chart. Support, moving averages, resistance, price indicators. It all applies to the DXY just like it applies to any other chart, despite what some fundamental news people who just cover the news might tell you and don't know anything about charting, quite frankly. So what's happening here is no surprise. The 105 area is holding as a temporary area of support. You can see it's a range. You know, we could move, and this is why you don't get too cute with price, but we could move this up to here. We could move this to here, but it doesn't matter. The whole premise here is that around 104 to 105 is this next area of support, right? And typically, because of the inverse relationship that exists between the DXY and crypto and equity markets as a whole, as this parabola continues to break down, okay, and we continue to fall in the strength of the dollar, we're going to see, history tells us this. There's no certainties, but it would go against the grain of all the history we have here. History tells us we're going to see appreciation in the stock market. We're going to see appreciation in crypto assets, and historically, crypto assets as a whole outpace equities, okay? So we should see mass appreciation as this continues to break down in the crypto markets. Now, I do have, so nothing has changed here, guys. Week over week, nothing has changed here. I do have a few other charts that I wanted to cover, including XRP, Cardano, Chainlink, Litecoin, and Litecoin BTC relativity, which is very important to hit on. This is something I hit on the last live stream. There are things developing in the Litecoin chart, and I could care less what your views of are Litecoin. But it's important, again, it's important to remove your emotional bias and understand that Litecoin, like any other crypto asset, has historical data. And in this case, It has more historical data than many other projects. And we can use that data to make inferences about what may potentially play out moving down the road based on the price of Litecoin. I'll get more into that. But it's very important to understand that perspective. Let's get into, see if we have any comments here or questions in particular. Glad to see everyone who is returning here. And if there's anyone new, please drop a comment. I'd be curious if anybody is new, subscribe to the channel, checking out the live stream for the first time. No, Brian, I already answered that. Great question on the Elliott wave and price action in the charts. Nope, nothing has invalidated anything. So there's no conflict there. There's no conflict. And again, I am not a master Elliott wave technician, and I will never pretend to be one until I am one, because it is a goal of mine to become a master Elliott wave technician. But I know enough about it to understand that nothing in the actual Elliott wave structure has invalidated what I've indicated. So no, there's no concerns there. June 2000. Wait, hold on. Let's hope Wave 5 is a tsunami and not a piss in puddle. Yeah, well, we'll see. There's some basic fib extensions that you can look at for the Wave 5 Elliott wave structure, and I think the most basic of the 1.618 fib extension, I forget off the top of my head, I think the 1.618 fib extension for that fifth wave, I think that takes us to 120, right around 120, maybe 116, 115. So it definitely has us going over 100,000. But again, a lot of these wave 5s, you can go back and actually study different Elliott wave patterns that played out this way. A lot of wave 5s can be extended and be, in terms of magnitude, the size of appreciation, they can be very comparable to a wave 3. So, but I think the basic extension takes us out to around 150 to 120. So, but yeah, I would love to have a wave 5 that's closer to the wave 3 movement. That would be awesome if Bitcoin got up to 180, 200,000. Yeah, that would be awesome. June 2023, if the Elliott waves I'm looking at will have us at about 40,000. Okay, I will. Crypto Ryan, do you have a recent video that sort of speaks to this? Because I would be curious to get your thoughts, because that's pretty specific. So, based on the fact that I've watched enough of your videos to be able to tell. I mean, you understand Elliott waves a lot more than I do. You do. I can tell that you've spent a lot of time with Elliott waves. So I'd be very curious in terms of why you've picked around June of next year, and you can see Bitcoin at about 40,000. I'd be curious if you have a video out on that, kind of going into that. Because if you do, I missed it. Good morning, DT. Good to see you. I know you're having a cup of coffee, my friend. Good to see you, and it's always nice to see you here. Yeah, Neffy, I don't, on the one hand, I don't disagree with your comment. Large movement in BTC until all the FUD with a few exchanges passes over. I don't disagree with you, but what I would say more and more is that people, and I've been on record to say that what happened with FTX, in my opinion, was a true definition of a black swan event. Okay, similar to the Ripple case and the SEC debacle with that whole bullshit being a black swan event. I view the two very similar in nature, being a black swan event. So on the one hand, it's, I will say the more and more I've done this, the more and more I've been a chartist since 2016. So that's when I started charting. Bless you to the person downstairs. Don't know if you heard that, but the microphone picks up a lot. So bless you. But anyway, where was I going with this? So one of the things that I can really appreciate is that people need a news narrative to fit the charts, right? It's just very human of us. We can't just look at the data and accept the way price action is playing out, and it's a game. It's in a sense, it is a game of probabilities. Okay, we need a news narrative. Now, in this case, though, I would agree with you that this really was a black swan event, and but things have a way of turning quickly. Like if you go back in time and you look, and I'm trying to formulate about how to put the best video together for this. I have a lot of video ideas for this week, and I'm not sure which one I want to put out. But one of the ones I wanted to put times when things were most bleak, calling for the death of Bitcoin and essentially crypto. Things in those moments turn around quickly, and people forget that. In these moments right now, because things are so pessimistic, okay, things are so pessimistic right now, people have a hard time removing that emotion and actually unbiasedly looking at the data and recognizing that, yeah, once things turn around, they turn around sharply and quickly. That Bitcoin, if you go back to 2000 and 2021, yeah, Bitcoin went from 10,000 to 60,000 in a matter of like 4 months or 5 months, okay? So, and if Bitcoin can do a 6x in a matter of 4 or 5 months, you get some of these smaller alts that can do, a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x in the same amount of time or shorter. People forget that, though. People really forget that. So it'll be interesting, though, to see how next year plays out. Okay, here's a question. All right, let's get to Brian's question here. This looks like it might be a very good question. So wouldn't you want Bitcoin dominance to rise first for alts to have a more sustained rally? I think if BTC falls through that floor, any bullishness would be short-lived. I actually disagree with you, Brian. So I understand what you're saying, but I disagree with what you're saying, and I will tell you why. In this video, let me go to my, and if you guys aren't following me, I think most of you follow me. Let me know. Drop me a comment and let me know if you don't follow me on Twitter. I think most of you do. I don't know. I think most of you do. Most of, at least the guys that I'm interacting with here, and even some of the ladies, they follow me on Twitter. So I think most of you guys do. But what was I saying? Oh, I have this video here pinned to my profile, okay? And if you watch the video, Bitcoin and Crypto Set to Shock the World, essentially what I do is I speak to the large movements that play out in Bitcoin dominance and why, for example, okay, we see a drop, okay, let's say from here to here, okay? There's movements in between, ups and downs, right? But in general, a big drop like this coming all the way down, that in general is most advantageous to alts, okay? A movement up, Bitcoin dominance moving up, is most advantageous in general to Bitcoin, and then a massive drop down is most advantageous to altcoins. Keep in mind, Brian, keep in mind that I'm not talking about one move here. I'm not talking about one move. I am talking about a macro view of a chart with a technical pattern that is present. This is a bear flag, and this is a descending triangle. Okay, the descending triangle is part of the bear flag. The technical target takes us all the way down to the low 20,000, to the low 20% in Bitcoin dominance. That in general, well, again, while there's movements in between, okay, movements in between, in general, that much of a decrease in dominance will be massively beneficial to altcoins most of all. It'll be massively beneficial to Bitcoin as well, but it'll be most massively beneficial to altcoins. And we should see a massive alt season as a result. So that is the way that I'm looking at it. I've never done chart out a fib timing from the BTC all-time high. You may find the timelines on it interesting. I think I understand what you're saying. I think I understand all these notifications. I gotta turn those notifications off when I'm live streaming. I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying that you're saying the timing of. I've sort of looked at that, looking out the timing of highs from bottom. I think what you're saying, Brendan, if I'm not confusing what you're saying, you're saying to look at when we've bottomed within a wave count and when we've topped in the next wave count. Is that what you're saying? Because I believe so. I'm pretty sure I'm not misinterpreting that, but let me know. Let's move on to a few more charts, because I have looked at that, by the way. let's move on to a few different charts, and then I'm going to take some questions on any charts that I haven't covered that people would like me to cover. So I'm going to cover 3 charts here, and then we're going to get into something very important that you're going to want to stick around to, because there are things developing in the Litecoin and Litecoin BTC price, the charts, that you guys should very much be paying attention to. And if you haven't been paying attention to it, allow me to be the first individual to point you in that direction, because it will benefit you. This is XRP. Now, the main thing to point out on XRP, which I really like to see, first off, we didn't go below 30 cents on this correction. That was good to see. So we held 32 cents. I mean, guys, you couldn't be any more perfect. You bounce, double bounce. We got above 37 cents. Very good. Now, there's other areas of resistance that you can draw. Okay, there's other areas of resistance that you can draw, but the main area that I'm looking for next is around 57 cents. Could you subscribe, maybe if you want to Nick's channel, maybe if you want to Encash, maybe his line of resistance is at 56 or 55 and a half or 56.5 cents. But again, we're squabbling over hairs, right? As a technician, one of the most basic things that you need to understand is that most often, especially with volatile assets, it's all about price ranges and not specific price points. In fact, if I were to redraw this, I could actually get a little more cute and maybe put it right there at 56.9 cents. Okay, but that's not important. The point is, we'll certainly see, we'll feel more confident once we see some strength come into the XRP price and we break above around 57 cents. But it's good to see that we respected 37 cents. Okay, we broke above it this week. When we closed out the weekly candlestick, we got above 37 cents and we've respected it. Very good to see. Cardano, you know, we're still in this falling wedge. Now, what I would say about Cardano is we need to hold this 31 cent area. Okay, if we start to break below 30 to 31 cents, again, I see in the chart a massive gap here between 30 and roughly 20 cents. Okay, this is a big gap. So there's no reason, I want to be clear about this, there's no reason if we start to break down and you see Cardano at 29 or 28 cents that we have to go all the way down here, but it's certainly a big risk. That's how I view it, a big risk. So we better maintain around 30 cents. And there is, by the way, there is a little bit of a falling wedge playing out here, okay, that we could see potentially play out in Cardano. Let's get into Chainlink. I wanted to point out Chainlink to you guys because one of the observations that I had on Chainlink, okay, is, and you know, it's funny, this made me think, there's a guy, actually, there's a guy, will not name names, but a technician whom I do respect, who quite frequently tweets about Chainlink. And you can tell sometimes, not everyone, but you can tell sometimes the coins that some people hold. But I was just thinking of him. But anyway, Chainlink. So what's interesting with Chainlink on the weekly is we see this momentum. Okay, momentum building in the relative strength index. Okay, the RSI is increasing, and yet price is doing this chippy choppy bullshit between, $5 and $7, upwards of 8 or 9. Okay, so we're basically chopping around, but momentum is building in the price. Okay, this leads me to conclude that while it's not certain, because there's no certainties, I think there's a solid possibility or likelihood that we could see a push all the way up towards around this area of $10, $11. Okay, something to watch for on Chainlink. But let's get to the 2 charts that I said are very important for you guys to understand and see what's going on. Okay, this is the Litecoin chart. It's actually on a 2-week. Now, the reason I'm looking at a 2-week, there's a couple reasons we'll get into. One, it helps to consolidate price. Let's get off the price indicators for a moment. Helps to consolidate price, but there's something else I wanted to show. You can see there's a lot of price data on Litecoin, okay? So the point of me charting this, again, isn't because I have some love or affiliation with Litecoin, okay? That's not the purpose. The purpose is because what I've discovered and what other people have discovered as well is we can use this price data to decipher what may be going on in the market, okay? Human emotions, human behavior plays out within these charts, okay? So in the past, if certain things occurred within the Litecoin chart, and then we saw broader things happen in the market, similar things may be playing out, essentially. Now, first off, I wanted to point out, and some of you may be tired of fractals because there's some fractals that have worked out and some fractals that have not worked out, but I'm seeing a general similar price pattern here beginning to play out. Back here that we saw similar potentially playing out here. I mean, you can look at it, pattern recognition. I don't need to point this out. You can look at this. Any first grader could see this. But there's something more important playing out here than this pattern recognition, okay? What I want you to look at on the 2-week is once we began, okay, let's actually get off the price indicators. Once we had officially bottomed out, okay, and we began to see this 10. Okay, the 10 is the blue line. The yellow is the 20. The 10 simple moving average is the blue line. The 20 simple moving average is the yellow line. And the 50 simple moving average is the purple. Once we saw price get above, okay, all three, and the 10 was above the 20, above the 50, we saw a massive increase in price, right? Well, right now, we're starting to push above the 20 simple moving average, and these moving averages are going to begin, as long as price can continue moving up, they're going to continue to move up towards the 50 simple moving average, okay? Something to keep an eye on. So we're beginning to see some momentum build in the price. We're seeing the MACD cross. We're seeing the stochastic RSI at a very healthy level. The RSI is beginning to pick up. It's at 46 at a healthier level, okay? On the weekly, and I believe there was something I was looking at on the weekly as well, yeah. So on the weekly, okay, something else to watch for on the weekly as we're pushing up. I'll help to make things easier. You can see that on the weekly on Litecoin, we're pushing up to this 50 simple moving average, okay? And once again, MACD's looking healthy. We're almost getting this cross above zero, okay? Almost getting that cross above zero. But in times past, okay, once we can start to see, and you can see this back in, 2018. Once we moved above the 50 simple moving average, we ran from 65 all the way up to 154. We got definitive closes here back in 2020, consolidated under for a little, but once we got then a definitive move up here, okay, we moved from about $50 all the way up to about $400, okay? So what I want to watch for here is for closes to start to occur above the 50 simple moving average. Now, I bet you if I put on the 10 simple moving average, yeah, you can see in these cases where we got the 10 cross above, that was another trigger for us, as well as I'd be willing to bet the MACD. Yes, you can see the MACD was positive above zero. We're starting to get above, close to getting above zero, okay, in the case that we saw back here, and in the case that we saw back here. So these are all signs that price is beginning to turn around in Litecoin. And Litecoin, in these cases where this started to go on, this was actually Litecoin, in some of these, for instances, began to actually front run the market and be an earlier indicator to the broader market that we were going to see a bigger run. What else can we see, though? Litecoin on the BTC pairing is beginning to break out. This is very, very bullish. This is on a 2-week chart, okay? We're beginning to get a candle body close above this descending resistance. Look at this. We're pushing above, okay? Historically, when we started to see a breakout like this on the Litecoin chart, and we start to see a breakout in its price relativity to Bitcoin, again, Litecoin starts to move. It starts to move, and the rest of the market is very close to following with it. So again, the Litecoin USD and the Litecoin BTC pairing are two charts that you guys really need to keep an eye on, because this is just another indicator that in times past, when we've seen breakouts on the LTC BTC chart and we've seen breakouts on the Litecoin, or at least the formation before the breakout, the signs that are showing that Litecoin's about to break out, when we start to see that on the USD chart, both of these items, these are indicators that the market as a whole, on a broader level, is beginning to heat up. It's beginning to warm up, even if it doesn't look like it, okay? And we could see a lot of the other altcoins and the rest of the market pick up and appreciate in value. Last chart that I wanted to take a look at, and wanted to spend about maybe 30 seconds on this chart, because there's nothing that's changed. Guys, I've hit on this. This is on a 2-week. This is the total 2 market cap. So these are all coins. We can take a look at the total market cap. We can take a look at the total 3 where we excluded Ethereum. In this case, this is the entire cryptocurrency market, but it takes out Bitcoin, okay? And you can see we're still in this falling wedge. We're still also, by the way, in a bull pennant. Okay, there's the flag pole. Here's the pennant. Okay, the technical target would be where we break out this measured pennant move right here. You would put it at the point where we break out at the top there. So nothing has changed. Okay, we are consolidating right in the golden range that I had spoken to a week ago. So nothing too crazy. Price indicators, things are looking relatively healthy. The RSI still below 40. Want to see that pick up. Stochastic RSI looks good. MACD is beginning to. Let's take a look at the MACD. Well, we'll have to see how the week closes. This thing is continuing to flatten out. We ideally want to see a cross and get above zero. So we still have a little ways to go. But nothing too material on the weekly close on the total 2. So with that being said, these were all the charts that I wanted to share with you. I hope that you found them informative. And if you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up button to support the channel. Drop me a comment and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell notification icon. So let's see what questions we have here. This is the portion of the live stream where I want to open it up for not TNA. Again, not TNA. Made that mistake of saying that. No titties and ass on this channel. We're doing TA Q&A. Okay, TA Q&A. So for any crypto projects that I have not covered, or if there was a chart that I covered that I didn't do a good job of explaining and you need me to re-explain it, I'm very open to that as well. So just let me know what questions you guys have. Let's see what we got here. Thank you for confirming that, Brendan. And I saw the dips line up as well. Yeah, I've seen so many charts, and I know exactly what you're referring to. Okay, Brian, ETH BTC chart for chart requests. I personally like it better than Bitcoin dominance. Okay, so Brian, I covered that earlier. You must have showed up a little late, but I don't mind quickly rehashing what I indicated, and that is this. You are correct. So I would like to further validate, Brian, what you're indicating. I actually used Ethereum BTC relativity as my talking point going into dominance for the very reason, similar reason that you're saying. I view this as a very invaluable chart to allow me to gain a perspective holistically on where the market's at. Again, if you guys spend most of your time or all of your time looking at a Bitcoin USD chart and you're formulating your opinion of the market based on that, you are completely missing the picture. You're looking at one thing. You're literally looking at one thing when there are so many other things you should be looking at to gain a complete picture of the market. One of them is the Ethereum Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum Bitcoin relativity chart that Brian is speaking to here. Again, Brian, what this consolidation is telling me is we're not in this massive bear market that everyone's talking about, because what we would see is a massive plummet in Ethereum BTC relativity. We're not seeing that. Ethereum relativity is holding up very well, and this consolidation further leads me feeling convicted that no matter how painful the correction, yes, correction, not bear market, correction, has been, and no matter how painful it's been, that when we couple this view with the Bitcoin dominance view and the dollar view, all these things lend credence to the notion that we are going to see that massive surge in price come in here in the many months to come. So this is just another chart I use to evaluate the market that leaves me feeling convicted about that educated view. How high do you think Bitcoin Cash can run next bull cycle? Wow. And Steady, good to see you, Steady. Steady says one Lambo. Well, my friend, there was a point where, much like perhaps some of you, my portfolio could have bought a few Lambos. But like I said, my portfolio went from Lambos to Geo Metros. So I'm right there with you. But I don't know. One Lambo, we'll have to be patient. We'll have to be patient and see how next year turns out. Okay, Bitcoin Cash, I can't tell you how far Bitcoin Cash is going to run, but what I would say, let me try to help you out, though, and share something with you. Now, this is let me speak to two things on this chart. This is the Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin relativity chart, BCH to BTC. This is a very bad chart, very, very bearish. What is the big picture saying here? We're just in a downward spiral. Okay, Bitcoin Cash is losing substantial value to Bitcoin. So, in other words, to say this, let's say that you were 100% in Bitcoin Cash and you believed in it. You would have lost out so heavy and hard had you done that relative to Bitcoin. If you would have stuck the same amount of money in Bitcoin, it would have appreciated a lot more in value. Bitcoin Cash is losing a tremendous amount of value to Bitcoin. So that's the negative. This thing is in a clear downtrend. The positive, okay, the positive is we are seeing some bullish divergence building in this relativity chart. And I do think we're going to see a hard spike at some point once the rest of the market picks up. You can see strength. Okay, seller exhaustion. This is the way to view this. Seller exhaustion has come into Bitcoin Cash, okay? It's tired of losing value relative to Bitcoin. Even though it's going down, okay, the value's going down, the strength is building. So I could very much see a pop here coming up. Maybe we come up to this level up here, okay? Maybe we break this trend and come up here, okay? On the USD chart, you know, again, I don't know where this is going to go, but if we look at the USD chart very quickly, it's been a little bit since I've looked at this. Actually, it hasn't been too far. I think I took a recent look at this, actually. And I appreciate the question, by the way. We broke below 180. I had 180 as a key area of support, and now it's resistance. We're all the way down here. We haven't been down at these levels since all the way back here in December, January of 2019. Okay? So, how about this? How about this, Neffy? I'm not going to answer your question, how high do I see Bitcoin Cash going? I want to be more helpful in a response to you. And I think the way I can be more helpful in a response to you is to say, you know what? Right now price is sitting at 110. Let's get above 180. Let's get above 180. Come back to the live stream. We'll reevaluate the chart. We'll talk about areas of resistance and support. I can see a lot here that I have not drawn out that we can talk about. Let's get above 180. Once we get above 180, we can have another conversation about other price levels that we could start to entertain and hit. And once we're further along in the cycle next year, yeah, let's have a conversation about realistically where Bitcoin Cash could go. But definitely very bearish for it to break below 180. It would have expressed a lot more strength had 180 held up. That's what I would say about that. Okay, I can definitely. Brendan has a charting question. We can take a look at this. Let's see. I don't think I have this one saved. I do not. So we're going to open up a blank chart. And apparently I was looking at Yearn Finance. I think someone on here asked me about Yearn Finance. Yeah. Any recommendations on what exchange to use? Any recommendations on exchanges, Brendan? Just so I can get the most price data? So I don't have to... Bittrex? Ooh. It's not a lot of price data, my friend. Gemini probably won't have a lot. Oh, it does. Okay, cool. We're going to use Gemini. All right. If you're cool with that, I'm going to use Gemini. Ooh, and then someone has a question on Digibyte. I'd love to chart out Digibyte. Thank you for the question, YC, and thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. I really enjoy doing what I do here for you guys, and you know, the interactions are what make this. And I'll do Binance, by the way, Brendan. The interactions and the positive feedback really make it energize me to continue churning out the content. So I really appreciate it. And by the way, I welcome constructive feedback as well. So if you guys have any constructive feedback for the channel, I always welcome that stuff. And speaking of constructive feedback, I noticed, I think it was Brendan who mentioned this. By the way, Brendan, I just noticed my camera is in the lower right-hand corner, and that's unintentional. I think it's because of my laptop setup, and I don't have the streaming software set up. Actually, let me move that. You guys would prefer the upper right? Wasn't it the upper right that I had it, or was it the lower right? Isn't it up here better? I think up here was better, right? Or was it the bottom right? I forget. Maybe it was bottom right. We're gonna keep it in the bottom right. If anybody complains, then right there. We'll just do that. Okay, let's get back to charting. I don't know. I'm digressing here. So this is ticker symbol PAXG. Pax Gold, and I'm not seeing a lot. Okay, let's take a look here. I want to take a look at a 3-day. All these wicks are really starting to piss me off. See all this volatility chippy chop in here. All right, let's see what we got. All right, let's draw some areas of resistance. I like this area right here. By the way, this is on a 3-day. I like the 3-day on this chart. 3-day is a very common view that a lot of charts look at, and I like the way the 3-day looks here for charting for purposes of drawing areas of resistance and support. This is a relatively clean chart and easy for me to chart areas and zones of resistance and support. Pretty straightforward. I don't want to overkill, right? I like to keep things stupid simple. I could throw 1,000 lines on here, but it doesn't add a lot of value. So I really don't want to overdo it with the resistance, okay? We'll try and keep it as high level as we can. Right about there, okay. And as far as support, well, first thing I would draw out is a little bit of an uptrend here, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. We got an uptrend there. That's nice. And then we have an area of support. I'll draw maybe 2 areas of support. Again, for everyone new joining, this is ticker symbol PAXG, Pax Gold. An area there, and then obviously our lowest point, which is right around there. Okay, at around 1585, we'll call it. Let's look for any bullish divergence. Okay, I'm seeing, what's the low here? We're at, the RSI here is at 25. The RSI here is at 34. So we definitely have some bullish divergence. So how am I pointing this out? I don't want to, I need to think out loud, right? So what happened here was we had price come from this point all the way down here. Okay, you see that? And the RSI yet is moving up. You see this? The RSI is actually moving up. So we do have bullish divergence. That's the first thing I'd like to point out on the RSI. Something very common, guys. When you chart something out, it's very common to look for a lot of the things that I'm pointing out to you. Okay, when you do this for a long period of time, you just kind of know what to look for. Plus, with the way the market is, I know that there's a lot of bullish divergence on a lot of charts that I've been looking at. So not surprised. Okay, it's good to see that the MACD has gotten across. Not only are we positive, we're above 0. Very good to see. Stochastic RSI, it's at a very healthy level. Blue is below orange. 74 is below 76. You want to get that blue above the orange, but still looking good. Okay, that's for the price indicators. Now let's get to price action. Price action is king. Really, ideally, what I want to see for strength, okay, what I ideally want to see for strength in this chart, Brendan, I need to see us break about 1800, right? You see this line drawn at 1797. Let's call it 1800. I want to see this, for the biggest level of strength to have in the chart, I want to see this ascending line of support hold. That would be really nice to see. Now, we could fall all the way back down here, okay, to 1620. We're still good. If we fall back to around 1620, we're still good. Ultimately, we don't want to take this low out. This low, which hit around 1585, ultimately, we just don't want to go below there. We could fall all the way to 1600. We could come all the way down here and we still have a low and a higher low. Okay, now we have this high. So ultimately, what we would need to do is get above 1800 and then start entertaining these other areas of resistance. That's what I see in the chart, Brendan. So I, on the move up, would look for 1800, 1840, 1882, 1919. Now, if you're looking to get in, okay, today provided you an awesome opportunity because we wicked to this area of ascending support today. Oh, this is a 3-day candle. I apologize. Oh, it was today. Look at that daily. Today provided you with an awesome opportunity to scale in if this continues to hold in a bullish structure. But if I was getting in, if I was looking to scale in, this is actually another area of support that I would look for right around 1670 to maybe even upwards of around 1686. Okay, could even draw this further down here at around 1650. So I'd wait for a little bit of a pullback. Personally, but I'd start getting bullish once we get a candle body close above 1800. Okay, that's what I would look for, Brendan. That is my contribution to the community gold. Nice. Ooh, I can smell dinner downstairs. Look at that. Normally I am the cook, but I am being treated to dinner, which is nice. So I can smell dinner. So before I bounce to grab myself some dinner, is there one more? Oh, there was one more chart. This is going to be the last chart I'm going to take a look at. Digibyte, YC, I did not forget. You're welcome, Brendan. I'm glad I could help. Price expectations on Digibyte I've already communicated. I believe I said I could realistically see. It depends how much the market appreciates. You have to understand, I sort of have my fib extensions drawn, and I have my expectations for Digibyte. But for all these coins, so goes Bitcoin, so goes the rest of the market. So depending how volatile and how much Bitcoin appreciates in value, that's also going to dictate a lot. But I believe I indicated around 40, somewhere realistically for Digibyte. At the conclusion of this cycle next year, I could see it going upwards of 40 to 60 cents, somewhere between 40 to 60 cents, right? That's a far cry from where it's at. That's, maybe you're talking from current price levels of 50, 60x from current prices. So that's realistically what I can see it doing. You said for Digibyte, you can look at the Bittrex chart. Also, do you use fib timeframes as well to see when the breakout or breakdown will occur? No, I don't use fib timeframes really. We can take a look at the chart. I have a bunch of charts on Digibyte. I'm a Digibull. I own I would say a decent amount of Digibyte. I'll leave it at that. So, this is one of these projects that's just been around for so long, and you can't fight that. And it's done very well for itself if you look at it historically. So, YC, if you're new, is that your high time frame? Not sure what you mean by that, brother. You're gonna have to spell that out for me. I'm not sure what you mean by that. HTF. I recognize that as high time frame, so I'm not sure what you mean. This is my pattern recognition for Digibyte. You can actually see that currently we're breaking down below this trend line. I mean, that's not the most encouraging thing to see. Although, you could argue you could have done this, right? You could have drawn a trend line from here all the way up like this. So technically, we broke down below it in March. So, I pay less attention to the upwards trend line here. I paid more attention to the pattern recognition in this case, and then also if other key areas of support or resistance are breaking down. Now that we've broken down below here, first off, I need to update this to be red. Okay. I can see another area of support. Interestingly enough, we hit it. Another area of support. I can see us going. Okay, we just hit it. Right around here. Okay, so we've held that. If we don't hold that area, I could see us going all the way down. Ah, shit, I could see us going down to here, maybe. Get two areas, two touches around 0.005, around a half a cent. So, what we want to see is the point, basically 0.6 of a penny. We want to see that hold, else we're going to go down to a half of a cent, right? But still, this is pattern recognition to me, and I can see on the higher time frames here on a 2-week chart, you can see that on the MACD, we're starting to get a cross up. We have ways to go to get above zero, but once we've seen the MACD cross up and get above zero and positive, we've had massive runs, okay? We're starting to see it cross up on the weekly. How are we looking on the MACD? Yeah, we're getting closer and closer. Momentum is building to getting up above zero, okay? Stochastic RSI on the weekly looks good. Actually looks really good because it's above 20. 32 is also above 23, so that's good to see. RSI is oversold at 36. It has a lot of room to run. How about bullish divergence? Is there any bullish divergence on Digibyte? Let's take a look. I know there is. The short answer is yes, but let's take a look here. Let's minimize some of these price indicators. Okay. So what do I see going on here? Well, I see price from this point right here going down, right? Do you not agree price is going down? But what's going on with the RSI? The RSI here, to me, it looks like it's increasing, right? So we have bullish divergence building on the 3-8 chart. Okay, this is very similar to a lot of other charts. So this is one of these. Here is my big picture perspective on Digibyte. This is one of these projects that has been in a massive, massive downtrend since it topped all the way back in May of 2021. Everyone forgot about Digibyte. Everyone forgets about Digibyte. It's an old project. There's better projects out there. Yeah. Well, my view is there's a lot of history here to suggest. That we are going to see a massive pump in this price once the market picks up. This thing, okay, and I'm not saying this because I own a significant amount. I'm saying this just based on looking at the chart. This thing has the potential to very easily pop up, okay, and come up to these levels around 3 to 4 cents and pull, what would that be? 3 to 4 cents over, that would be a 5 to 7x. This thing could pull a 5 to 7x in 2 weeks. That's just how volatile it is, And I know that Digibyte has lost market cap ranking. I think it's back in the 160 area, market cap ranking. When it pulls that sort of move, you'll see it break the top 100. It'll be back up in the 90, 80, 70 spot, okay? That will not shock me one bit. I'll be happy to tweet about it, but it won't shock me one bit. No, I'm not concerned. I just spoke to that. Good question. Oh, so just to clarify, yes, when the rest of the market tops out, the price range currently that I am looking at for Digibyte that I think is realistic, I'm looking at something in the 40 cent to 60 cent area. And I know that's a ways away, but again, once this market picks up, let's just not forget how quickly the market can appreciate. People just they often forget this. So we'll have to be patient. We'll have to see how it plays out. But yeah, this thing really has the potential to pull a 50, 60x in my opinion, from current price levels. Very much. All right. Well, I hope everyone appreciated the live stream. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you haven't, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment. Let me know if this live stream has been helpful. Again, I'll be coming out with a few more videos this week. We got the monthly close. We got a happy hour going on Thursday. And another, video or two kind of getting out there, published TA video. But I am starving. I'm going to go grab dinner. I hope you guys have a really nice evening. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon if you haven't already. And until next time, share this video with at least one person. And until next time, spread awareness and carry the education forward. Thanks, guys. All right.